What if everything you've been taught about success is wrong? What if the reason you're stuck isn't lack of effort, but how you think? Here's the truth. Your mind is either building your future or destroying it. Let me show you how to fix it. Most people never get what they want because they don't think the right way. They blame luck, the economy, other people. But the real problem? Their thoughts. Today, we're fixing that. No fluff, no vague advice, just the exact rules to rewire your thinking so success stops feeling like luck and starts feeling inevitable. Your thoughts are blueprints. Imagine standing in front of an empty lot. You've got all the materials you need. Bricks, steel, glass, everything required to build something incredible. But here's the catch. If you don't have a blueprint, if you don't have a clear plan, what are you going to build? A mess. A pile of wasted potential. That's exactly how most people live their lives. They have the raw materials, time, energy, talent, but no real plan, no real design. And so they end up with a life that feels unstable, unfinished, like a half-built house with no roof. Now think about your mind the same way. Every single thought you have is a line in that blueprint. Every belief, every assumption, every little I can or I can't is shaping the structure of your future. Most people don't realize this. They let their thoughts run wild, like an architect who keeps changing the design every 5 minutes. One day, they're convinced they're destined for greatness. The next, they're sure they'll never succeed. And then they wonder why their life looks like a construction site with no real progress. Here's the truth. Your thoughts are not just passing ideas, they are instructions. Every time you tell yourself, this won't work, you're adding that to the blueprint. Every time you say, I'm not good enough, you're reinforcing a weak foundation. And if you keep doing that long enough, your life will reflect those weak designs. You'll attract the wrong people, miss the right opportunities, and stay stuck in the same cycles. Not because the world is against you, but because you never took control of the blueprint. So how do you fix it? You start by becoming aware. You start catching yourself when you're drafting failure instead of success. Because most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think I'm just being realistic, but realism is just another way of saying I've accepted limitations. And once you accept them, they become part of the structure. Now let's talk about how to actually draft a better blueprint. It's not about positive thinking that's been oversold. It's about precision thinking. You don't just say, I want to be successful. That's vague. That's like telling a builder, make me a house. What kind of house? How many rooms? What style? If you don't specify, you'll get whatever someone else decides for you. Instead, you get clear. You define exactly what you want, down to the smallest detail. You don't just say, I want more money. You say, I will earn $10,000 a month by December, and here's how. You don't just say, I want to be happy. You say, I will create a life where I wake up excited, where my work matters, where I'm surrounded by people who lift me up. That's drafting with intention. And then, this is the part most miss. You reinforce the blueprint daily. You don't draw it once and forget about it. You revisit it. You refine it. You burn the old weak designs and replace them with stronger ones. Because the world will try to scribble over your plans. People will tell you it can't be done. Circumstances will make it seem impossible. But if your blueprint is solid, if your mental design is unshakable, none of that will matter. The greatest builders in history didn't just stumble upon their masterpieces. They envisioned them first. They saw the finished structure before a single brick was laid. And that's what you must do with your life. Stop letting your thoughts be random. Stop letting doubt and fear draft your future. Take the pencil out of their hands and draw something worth building. The invisible force inside you. There's something inside you right now, something powerful, something most people never learn to use. It's not magic, it's not luck. It's a force that's been working in the background of your life since the day you were born, shaping your reality, whether you realize it or not. And here's the scary part. If you don't control it, it will control you. Think of it like this. Your mind is constantly broadcasting. Like a radio tower sending out signals, every thought you have goes out into the world and comes back to you in the form of experiences. Most people are broadcasting static, random noise, mixed signals, doubts, fears, worries, and then they wonder why their life feels chaotic, why nothing seems to work out. It's because they never learned to tune the station. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This force doesn't care whether your thoughts are good or bad. It doesn't judge, it just responds. If you send out signals of doubt, you get back situations that reinforce doubt. If you send out signals of confidence, you get back proof that you were right to be confident. It's not about manifesting in some mystical way. It's about cause and effect at a mental level. Let me give you an example. Two people walk into the same job interview. One is nervous, convinced they're not good enough. The other is calm, certain they're the right fit. Who gets the job? It's not just about skills, it's about the energy they brought into the room. The first person's doubt leaked into their posture, their tone, their answers. The second person's certainty did the same. And the interviewer, they picked up on it without even realizing it. That's the invisible force at work. It's not about tricking the universe into giving you what you want. It's about aligning your mental energy with the outcomes you desire. Because when you do that, you start making different choices. You carry yourself differently. You spot opportunities you would have missed before. So how do you take control of it? First, you have to become aware of what you're broadcasting. Most people never stop to listen to their own thoughts. They let fear run the show. They let past failures dictate their future. And so they keep sending out the same weak signals, getting back the same weak result. The fix? You start monitoring your mental dialogue. You catch yourself when you're broadcasting negativity. You don't just let thoughts like "I'll never get this right" or "things never work out for me" play on repeat. You challenge them. You replace them. Because every time you let those thoughts pass unchallenged, you're strengthening their signal. Second, you start sending out intentional frequencies. You don't wait until you feel confident to act confident. You act first, and the feeling follows. You stand taller. You speak clearer. You make decisions from a place of certainty, even if you have to fake it at first. And over time, something incredible happens. Your outer actions reprogram our inner broadcast. Finally, you protect your signal. You stop letting other people's static interfere with yours. Negative influences, toxic relationships, constant bad news. These are all noise. And if you let them in, they'll distort your transmission. You wouldn't let someone mess with a radio tower you depended on, so why let them mess with your mind? This force is always working. The question is, are you using it, or is it using you? Most people go through life never realizing they had a choice. But you, now you know. And that changes everything. The secret of seeing it first. There's a difference between people who achieve extraordinary things and those who don't. It's not just hard work, it's not just talent, it's something deeper, something that happens long before the results show up. It happens in their minds. Winners, the ones who break through, who build empires, who turn dreams into reality, they don't just hope for success. They don't just work toward it, they see it first. And not in some vague daydreaming kind of way. They see it with absolute clarity, as if it's already real. This isn't some mystical idea, it's science. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something you imagine vividly and something that's actually happening. When you close your eyes and picture yourself standing on a stage giving a speech, your brain fires the same neurons as if you were really doing it. When you mentally rehearse a difficult conversation, your body reacts as if it's real. That's why athletes visualize their performances before they step onto the field. That's why the most successful people in the world spend time living their future in their minds before it happens. Most people don't do this. They think success is about waiting for the right moment, waiting for luck, waiting for permission. But the ones who make it, they don't wait. They create the experience in their heads first. They walk through every detail, what it feels like, what it looks like, even what it smells like. They don't just say, "I want to be successful." They experience success in their imagination so intensely that their brain starts working to make it real. Here's how you do it. You don't just fantasize. You don't just say, "Wouldn't it be nice if..." You go deeper. You get specific. If you want to build a business, you don't just imagine having money. You imagine the office. The sound of the door opening in the morning. The weight of the pen as you sign your first big deal. The faces of the people you're helping. You make it so real that when you open your eyes, it feels like you've already been there. And then this is the key. You act as if it's already done. Not in a delusional way, but in a way that programs your subconscious to pull you toward that reality. Because your brain is always looking for evidence to match what you believe. If you believe you're capable, you'll notice opportunities. If you believe you're stuck, you'll find proof of that too. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about mental construction. Before a builder lays a single brick, he has the whole structure in his mind. Before a general wins a battle, he's already played it out in his head 100 times. And before you achieve anything worth having, you have to see it, not as a maybe, not as a hope, but as something that's already yours. You just haven't physically arrived there yet. So start building your future in your mind. Not someday, not eventually. Now, see it, feel it, believe it, and then watch as your brain starts finding ways to make it real. Why most goals fail. Goals are supposed to work. You set them, you chase them, you achieve them. That's how it's supposed to go. But most people's goals don't work. They start strong, then fizzle out. They get excited on January 1st and give up by February. Because most goals aren't really goals, they're wishes. And wishes don't have power. Think about it. If you say, I want money, what does that even mean? $1? $1,000,000? By when? How? There's no force behind it. It's like saying, I want to go somewhere. Okay, where? When? How are you getting there? If you don't know, you'll never move. Real goals, the kind that actually get achieved, have three things: a deadline, an exact amount, and a burning reason why. Without these, you're just daydreaming. First, the deadline. If you don't set a date, your brain treats it as optional. I'll get around to it becomes never. But when you say, I will make $10,000 by December 31st, something changes. Your mind starts organizing around that date. It starts looking for ways to make it happen. Time becomes an ally instead of an enemy. Second, the exact amount. Vague goals get vague results. I want to be rich means nothing. I will earn $8,500 per month is something your brain can work with. It's measurable. You know when you've hit it. You know when you're falling short. Precision creates focus. Third, and this is the one most people miss, the burning reason why. If you don't have a deep emotional reason for your goal, you won't stick to it when things get hard. I want money isn't enough. I want money so I can quit my job and spend more time with my kids. That's fuel. That's what keeps you going at 2 a.m. when everyone else has given up. Most goals fail because they're weak. They're not specific enough. They're not urgent enough. They're not tied to something that matters. And so, when distractions come, when obstacles appear, when motivation fades, and it always does, those goals get abandoned. But when your goal is clear, when it's tied to a real desire, when it has a deadline staring you in the face, that's when things change. That's when you find a way, no matter what. So if you've been setting goals and failing, it's not you, it's your method. Stop wishing, start defining. Give your brain something real to work toward. And then watch what happens. The enemies of progress. There are three things that steal success more than anything else. They don't come from the outside. They're not bad luck or unfair circumstances. They live inside your mind. And if you don't deal with them, they will keep you stuck forever. The first is indecision, the inability to choose, the constant second guessing. Most people don't realize how much energy they waste just hesitating. Should I start now or wait? Should I take this risk or play it safe? The truth is, wrong decisions are better than no decisions, because at least when you're wrong, you learn. When you do nothing, you get nothing. The second enemy is doubt. That voice that says, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? The problem with doubt isn't that it's true, it's that it feels true. And when you listen to it, it grows. But here's the secret. Doubt is just a habit. It's not reality. It's not some deep truth about you. It's just a thought you've practiced too much. And habits can be broken. The third enemy is fear. Not the kind that keeps you from jumping off cliffs. That's useful. The kind that paralyzes you from taking any risk at all. The fear of looking stupid. The fear of failing. The fear of what people will think. But here's what you need to understand. Fear doesn't go away. Successful people don't lack fear. They just refuse to let it make their decisions for them. These three, indecision, doubt, and fear, aren't real obstacles. They're illusions. They're mental habits that you've picked up over time. And the only way to beat them is to replace them with better habits. How? By taking action before you feel ready. By making decisions even when you're unsure. By doing the thing you're afraid of, not because the fear disappears, but because you refuse to let it stop you. Progress isn't about waiting until you feel confident. It's about moving forward even when you don't. Because every time you do, you weaken those enemies. Every time you act despite them, they lose their power over you. So stop letting them run your life. Recognize them for what they are. Old habits, not truths. And then step right through them. because on the other side is everything you want, the magnet effect. You've been lied, you've been told that success is something you chase, that you have to hustle, grind, and force your way to the top. But that's not how it works. Real success isn't something you run after. It's something you pull toward you, not by chasing, but by becoming.
Think about how a magnet works. It doesn't strain to attract metal. It doesn't beg or force. It simply is, and because of what it is, the metal comes to it. The same is true for success. When you become the kind of person who naturally attracts opportunities, you don't have to beg for them. You don't have to convince people to believe in you. You don't have to force doors open. They open on their own. But here's the problem. Most people are trying to attract success while still carrying the energy of someone who doesn't deserve it. They want money, but they still think like broke people. They want respect, but they still act like they're unimportant. They want opportunities, but they still talk like they're not ready. And then they wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, the world doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. If you're constantly doubting yourself, hesitating and playing small, you'll attract more reasons to doubt, hesitate, and stay small. But if you start carrying yourself like someone who expects success, not arrogantly, but with quiet certainty, the world will respond. People will notice. Opportunities will appear. Not because you begged for them, but because you became magnetic. So how do you do it? You start by upgrading your self-concept. You stop seeing yourself as someone who's trying to make it, and start seeing yourself as someone who already is. You don't wait for success to feel confident. You act confident now, and success follows. You don't wait for money to feel abundant. You think abundantly now, and money starts flowing. This isn't about faking it. It's about alignment. You can't attract what you don't believe you deserve. So if you want more, you have to be more right now before the results show up. The moment you shift this, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop feeling like the world owes you something. Instead, you focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what you want. And then, like a magnet, success comes to you. The 30-day mind experiment. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess. Yet most people never learn how to use it properly. They let negative thoughts run wild. They entertain doubts and fears, and then wonder why their life isn't working out the way they want. For the next 30 days, you're going to conduct an experiment that will change everything. You're going to take control of your mental environment like never before. This isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. This is about ruthless mental discipline. Every time a negative thought enters your mind, you're going to catch it, examine it, and then deliberately replace it with something stronger. You're going to treat your mind like a sacred space where only productive, empowering thoughts are allowed to live. At first, this will feel unnatural. Your brain will resist. You'll catch yourself slipping back into old patterns of thinking. That's normal. That's your subconscious mind fighting to maintain the status quo. But if you persist, something remarkable happens. Around day 10, you'll start noticing subtle shifts. Negative thoughts will lose their grip on you.
Around day 20, you'll find yourself automatically rejecting limiting beliefs before they can take root. By day 30, you'll have fundamentally rewired how your mind operates. You'll think differently, which means you'll act differently, which means you'll get different results. This isn't magic, it's neuroscience. Your brain adapts to whatever you feed it. Feed it negativity, and it will find more negativity. Feed it possibility, and it will find more opportunities. The choice is yours, but the 30-day window is non-negotiable. Real change requires real commitment. Are you ready to transform your mind and, by extension, your life? The truth about failure. Failure doesn't mean what you think it means. Society has conditioned us to see failure as the enemy, as something to be avoided at all costs. But this perspective is fundamentally flawed. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's an essential part of success. Every significant achievement in human history has been preceded by a long string of failures. The difference between those who ultimately succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's their relationship with failure. Successful people understand that failure is simply feedback. It's not personal. It's not permanent. It's just information telling you what needs to be adjusted. When you embrace this truth, everything changes. Rejection stops feeling like a verdict on your worth and starts feeling like redirection. Mistakes stop being sources of shame and become valuable lessons. The path to success isn't a straight line, it's a series of zigzags, course corrections, and necessary stumbles. The people who make it aren't those who never fail, they're those who never quit. They're the ones who understand that every no brings them closer to a yes, that every closed door means they're getting warmer, that every setback is just set up for a comeback. This isn't motivational fluff. It's the hard truth that separates dreamers from doers. The question isn't whether you'll fail, you will. The question is whether you'll let failure stop you or teach you. One approach leads to regret. The other leads to results. The choice is yours, but choose wisely. Your future depends on it. The mastermind shortcut. There's a law of nature that most people ignore, one that silently shapes their lives whether they realize it or not. You don't rise to your goals. You don't outwork your deepest beliefs. You don't outperform your environment. You sink or swim to the level of the people you surround yourself with. This isn't a theory. It's not motivational fluff. It's as real as gravity. The minds you allow into your space will determine the limits of your life. Think about it. If you spend time with people who complain, guess what you'll start doing? If you listen to people who play small, guess how big you'll dream? If the closest voices in your life are stuck in the same cycles, guess where you'll stay? You can't outthink your circle. You can't outbelieve your influences. Your mind absorbs what it's exposed to, not just intellectually, but emotionally, spiritually, unconsciously. The conversations you have, the attitudes you soak in, the standards you normalize, these things wire your brain for success or sabotage. This is why changing your circle isn't just helpful, it's non-negotiable. If you want to reach a new level, you need new minds around you. Not necessarily in person, though that's ideal, but at least in what you consume, books, mentors, voices that pull you forward instead of holding you back. Most people never do this. They cling to relationships out of loyalty, comfort, or fear of being alone. They let family, friends, or coworkers dictate their mental environment because it feels easier than rocking the boat. But here's the truth. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. You don't have to abandon people, but you do have to protect your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. The fastest way to change your life isn't just working harder. It's plugging into a new frequency. Find people who've done what you want to do. Study them. Listen to them. If you can't meet them, read their words. Absorb their mindset. Your brain will start to mimic their patterns. Their confidence will rub off on you. Their strategies will become yours. This isn't about imitation. It's about downloading a better operating system for your mind. You'll resist this at first. Your ego will say, I don't need help. Your fear will whisper, you're betraying your roots. Ignore that. This isn't about arrogance. It's about growth. The right circle won't just inspire you. It will demand more from you. It will call out your excuse. It will raise your standards. And when you stumble, and you will, it won't coddle you. It will remind you who you're becoming. So audit your influences today. Who's speaking into your life? Who are you allowing to shape your thoughts? If they're not where you want to be, it's time to upgrade. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Now. Because your environment is either building you or breaking you. And if you're not choosing deliberately, you're choosing by default. The final key. Action. All of this, every principle, every insight, every mental shift means nothing without one thing, action. Not someday action. Not when you feel ready action. Not overthinking, over-planning, over-preparing action. Now, today. The kind that burns bridges with your old self. The kind that terrifies you because it's real. Here's the hard truth. Thinking doesn't build empires. Dreaming doesn't create results. Vision boards don't pay bills. Only action does. And not just any action, relentless, consistent, stupidly stubborn action in the direction of what you want. Most people never get this. They want the reward without the risk. They want the success without the sweat. They want guarantees before they start. But life doesn't work that way. Clarity comes from doing, not waiting. Momentum comes from movement, not meditation. You can know everything about success and still fail if you don't act. You can have the best ideas and still lose if you don't execute. The world is full of brilliant, talented, capable people who never move. Don't be one of them. Action is the great separator. It's the difference between one day and day one, between wishing and having, between the person you are and the person you're meant to be. And here's the secret. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be ready. You just have to start. The first attempt will be messy. The first version will be weak. That's fine. Improve as you go. Adjust as you learn. But move, because action does something thinking never can. It forces reality to respond. It creates feedback. It generates luck. Opportunities don't find you in your comfort zone. They find you in the arena. Every step forward, no matter how small, changes your energy. It tells the universe you're serious. It tells your mind this is happening. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There will always be excuses. There will always be fear. Do it anyway. Start before you're ready. Build before you're confident. The magic isn't in getting it right. It's in starting it all. This is the final key, not because it's last, but because it's everything. Without it, all the knowledge in the world is useless. With it, even the most ordinary person becomes unstoppable. So what are you waiting for? Go. Thinking correctly isn't about positivity. It's about precision. Your mind is a tool. Sharpen it.